What did you say was wrong with you? You have a chronic illness. Well, gosh, you look really well. Those are the things we hate to hear when we have a chronic illness. We don't want to hear we look well. We want some sympathy. We want some acknowledgement of how we are inside. But no, we look well. Welcome to our podcast. I'll hand over to Adam, the proper host.
Proper horse. Hey, we're all horse here, aren't we, darling?
I'm good. Well, I say I'm good. I have a chronic illness. I have chronic fatigue syndrome. See, I couldn't even remember because of the mind fog. I have, chronic fatigue, and I also have gastroesophageal reflux disease. So I'm a charm.
Hey, you certainly are. You certainly are. Now, chronic illness. What is it?
Ooh, good question. It can be a number of things. It can be anything from lupus, fibromyalgia, CFS, ME, chronic pain, MS. You know, it runs the whole gamut of the what would you call it? The medical dictionary. But what it really amounts to is it's not something that goes away in time. You know, it's not like a cold or a flu in which I don't know what I'm doing. This is all back to front.
What are you doing?
The screen is back to front, but my hand
No,
is a
it's
mirror.
not.
There we go. There we go. No, I'm sorted now. I'm sorted.
Hey, speaking of laughter, even though we're not mentioned it, Kerry, she not Kerry Bird, the other Kerry, my Kerry, who you are after. I'm joking. She needs a bit of cheering up today. She's a little bit on the low side, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm just opening some windows because I'm suddenly realizing I'm so professional, aren't I? I'm suddenly realizing because I've actually put proper clothes on for this event, I'm boiling, and I'm not one of these women who merely blush. I sweat profusely. So that's what I get for dressing up.
Oh, damn. We have literally, obviously this is just a little bit off topic, but we've just received a comment.
Already?
Of Stephen Kahn. He's put, "Hi guys, how's it going? I just found out my kidneys are failing. I'm gutted."
Oh dear God.
Shit.
Yes. Right. Well, hopefully, I don't know whether dialysis will help or a kidney transplant, but sorry, I'm going to have
Stephen, get in touch with the page. Obviously, you know of the page. Get in touch with it, and we'll have a conversation about that after this podcast.
Yeah.
But back on to, and I hope you really, we will help you the best we can. Back to chronic illness. Yeah, back to chronic illness.
Sorry, go on.
I've actually looked it up. I've just been browsing before we came on for about 5-10 minutes. And I've come across some amazing things, which even I didn't know about it.
Like?
Arthritis, cancer, obesity, it's a type of chronic illness.
Yes, it's anything really that debilitates you. It doesn't enable you to lead a full life, you know, long term. I do apologise for the sweating. My God.
Can you bring that heat up here? Because it's absolutely freezing here.
It's internal, actually. Hang on a minute. I'm going to be really awful. I'm going to put the phone down a minute and take off my waistcoat. Oh, God. And the tie. What the... I'll also tell you that the menopause is a chronic illness. I think that's a hot flush. Anyway.
Guys, we have breaking news for the first time ever on Warrior TV. Karen Unrue will not be stripping for us. Not today.
Oh, God, you hope.
No.
I mean, I know Kim Kardashian broke the internet when she showed her butt, but I would break the internet in different ways. Anyway, let's get back to the topic.
Yes. Yeah. Cool, we're live here. We're live.
Right, yes. So a chronic illness really is any condition that is debilitating, stops you from living your full life on a long-term basis. You know, we all know if you have flu or something, that's 2 weeks of being debilitated. But we also know that it'll run its course and our body will send antibodies and all that sort of thing to fight whatever virus or bacteria is there. When you have a chronic illness, and I hadn't actually realized that obesity was considered a chronic illness. That's news to me. But usually you have a compromised immune system as well. So your body isn't able to fight whatever is attacking it because your autoimmune issue is actually causing the body to fight itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I was reading this morning about research into CFS and ME and fibromyalgia, and it's really cutting edge. And what I mean by that is, it's only fairly recently that they've been doing the work necessary to have breakthroughs in figuring out what's going on with chronic illness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, Stephen Kahn, he's got an appointment at 4 p.m. today. Yep, brilliant. Hope you get the answers you need. And hello, Leah Wiggett. Please share this. We're talking about chronic illness. So if you've got
chronic illness and your mental health, how it impacts your mental health, yeah.
Yeah, do you know, I've actually come across something on that. I'm just going to quickly have a look for like 10 seconds.
Okay. I'll sing a song in the meantime.
Yeah, diabetes, heart disease.
Sorry, go on.
Eating disorders as well.
Well, now that interests me. Well, yes, because you're compromising the body. An eating disorder, which I had in my youth. I like to be able to tick a lot of boxes, you see.
Please don't mimic. Please don't mimic.
Also, I was, oh dear, it was automatic. I'm sorry. I love the northern accent, me.
Oh, for God's sake.
But yes.
I'm going to let you take over.
But yes, I would imagine an eating disorder is considered a chronic illness because whether it's bulimia or anorexia, again, you're compromising your immune system by starving or binging and throwing up. Yeah. So it has long-term effects. Anything with a long-term effect, really, on your system.
So who does it affect more, males or females?
It doesn't discriminate, really. I would say it's probably about the same. Yeah. Okay.
So what age can you actually start having this chronic illness? Like any sort?
Well, any age. Now that we know that, as you've said, eating disorders is one. Well, we know with the pressure put on us by social media, etc., that kids younger and younger are thinking, oh, you know, I don't like my shape. I want to be thinner or whatever, be more beautiful. So
we're all beautiful.
So they can begin to wreck their bodies at, you know, an earlier age because they're trying to meet some social concept of beauty.
Expectations,
yeah. And also we know that cancer, again, unfortunately, can hit at any age. ME, I mean, fibromyalgia, I know, can hit very young as well. But it's usually sort of anywhere from, you know, mid-teens or up. And one thing I just want to bring in briefly, we can talk about it at more length later if we want to, is that those who have had trauma, whether it's childhood trauma, whether it's been an abusive marriage, bad relationship, bullying at work, anything that causes intense stress like that releases cortisol and adrenaline through the body over years. And that then compromises the immune system. And people who've been through trauma tend to get a lot of gastro issues linked to that trauma recovery. And yeah.
Now I see it. Leah, I'll get to your comment in a minute because it's really valid, that is. No, I'll get to it now. She put, I was 19 when I had an eating disorder after the loss of my daughter.
Wow. Oh, first of all, I am very sorry to hear you've been through that. And yes, my eating disorder started at 17. So you can be very young. And yes, an eating disorder can be triggered by an awful traumatic event like the loss of your daughter, or a divorce by, parents, or anything, So, yeah.
We're all with you, Leah.
Yeah.
We're all with you. Even though Karen can be crazy sometimes, I'd say about 9 times out of 10, but she's lovely. She's lovely.
Yes. I mean, I don't make light of things that, I wouldn't make light of anything like that. And my humor, if you like, has been because I have had chronic illness for 30 years. And I'm now at a place in my chronic illness where I'm waiting to see a consultant, and I might need an op for my GERD. And also, I am very limited in my ability to socialize, to get out, to get on with work at home. I am very compromised. So my humor has been something I've used to keep my mood buoyant, but it's not at the expense of somebody else's. I wouldn't make light of things.
Guys, she only brings light to my personality, my accent.
Well, there's just something about North, lovely it is. My mother watched Coronation Street for years, you see, so I picked it up.
You need to start talking to Aussies a lot more.
I do.
Well, you are due with one at some point. I think it's next week. I don't know. We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
But yeah, chronic illness. It's like, is there any self-care for it?
Self-care. Wow. Yes, but because we're talking about the mental health side of it, I want to emphasize that it's very hard to give yourself self-care when you have a chronic illness, because part of having a chronic illness, specifically, I mean, cancer would be different because you would look ill, perhaps. But the biggest issue with a chronic illness, like ME, CFS, fibromyalgia, lupus, all those, is that we don't look ill. And so we feel kind of undeserving of giving ourselves self-care because the stigma is that people are always saying, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you get out? Why don't you go for a walk in nature? And, they're always trying to give us little cliched pat ways of getting better. And we feel also that, gosh, maybe this is just me being lazy, or maybe this is just a choice I'm making, because I've been told that as well, So you need to get past, in a way, the internalized stigma about having a chronic illness, to where you can then give yourself self-love.
Absolutely. Now, you keep mentioning lupus there. Warrior TV have actually covered lupus. We've spoken about it. We have a couple of times. You need to connect with someone on LinkedIn called Karen McEwen.
Okay.
So another Karen. See, I keep finding people with the same names here. Kerry's, Karen's. And,
it's all the KKKKKKK, you see.
Exactly. But yeah, she's lived with lupus before. She now helps people who's got it.
Wonderful.
So yeah, I keep bringing her on for National Lupus Day as well, so it's even better.
I mean, I've had some cards printed, and if anybody's interested in having some, it'll just be the cost of the postage. I've had some cards, sort of business card size, and on the front is so if somebody says, well, you looking well, I don't understand, then there's a picture on one side of a very sick woman in bed. It's a painting, an old painting like this. Right? And on the other side, it says, this is what I look like when I'm not with you.
Oh.
You know,
I bet you use it a lot, don't you?
You know, I haven't yet, because when I got them printed, COVID happened, and I didn't think it was appropriate to sort of be handing out cards like that during COVID. But not to hand out and go, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. But this is just to raise your awareness that I don't always look like this.
Ellen, I was going to say something about that, but I'm not going to, because that would be another can of worms. But yeah, hello, Melissa Christie. She put hello, Adam and Karen. Well done this morning on talking about the body, of how important it is.
The body?
Yeah, of how important the body is.
Oh, absolutely. And the body is just as important as the mind, because what they're discovering now, deeply into discovering it, is that the gut is the second brain. In other words,
It is.
If our gut and the flora and the bacteria in our gut isn't healthy, it causes inflammation in the gut, which then causes inflammation in the brain, which then causes mind fog. It can lead to brain fog. It can lead to anxiety and depression. So a healthy body with a healthy diet is vital to a healthy mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, speaking of like the mental health side, this is why me and Kerry are in a little bit of a dispute when it comes to sending the kids back in September, because I'm like, I don't want them going back, because it's like they've watched the football last few months, so they've seen like 90,000 people in Wembley. They saw in Wimbledon 30,000 there with no PPE, but they're being made to social distance in school. So,
well, that's a whole other subject. You know,
it is.
It is. I mean, and talking of chronic illness and COVID, you know, you've got now long COVID, which is the result people are living with once they have recovered from COVID, as in they're no longer in ICU in their home. But they've got what they call long COVID, which is very similar to CFS and fibromyalgia, ME, which in one sense, and I say this carefully, is in a way lucky for those of us who for years have lived with these chronic illnesses, because long COVID is now seen as something that requires a lot of research, a lot of money being spent on it. Of course, it's the workforce, etc. Which means that they are coming up with discoveries that also are helping us now, because it's very linked to the whole other issues of chronic fatigue, of chronic illness.
Yeah, it is. And like, I want to talk about fibro itself, because I've heard little bits about it, but I don't know it fully. So yeah,
I don't know it fully. I mean, I am, like I said, I have chronic fatigue. Fibromyalgia is very similar to that, but it also comes with pain. I don't have muscle aches and pains and joint pains and things like that, thankfully. But fibromyalgia has a lot more chronic pain with it. That's my only understanding of the difference.
Yeah, it's like a physical disability, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, chronic fatigue also causes a weakening of the muscles, deep fatigue, obviously, and this chronic brain fog that makes it hard to concentrate or finish a book, or, you know, that sort of thing. But we don't have the depth of pain they suffer. So it's much worse in a way.
It is. It is. So, what awareness can we actually bring to the table regarding this? Because slowly getting out there, isn't it, chronic illness? Slowly, but not fast enough. Because it's like the NHS, obviously for Americans, we've got an NHS over here. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're just useless. But
the main problem is the waiting list, isn't it? I mean, it's all free and it's all good quality, but it's the waiting lists.
Exactly. But it's like when you're waiting, and after you've waited and you've been seen, you tell them exactly what's going on, and they either don't understand and they just fob you off with some medication, which probably 9 times out of 10 probably won't even work, or they just let you go and let you do it yourself.
Well, this is it. Unless you have the money to go private and see a consultant, you're only seeing a GP, which stands for general practitioner. And so they only have a general knowledge of many things. So if you have, I mean, like for instance, with my GERD, call me Gerdy, with my GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease, it's hard to remember. My GP really just gave me a Mesropol. Now I stopped taking a Mesropol because I began to feel like I had dementia. And then when I did my own research, I found that it's been linked to dementia and Alzheimer's. So I stopped taking it. But a doctor's not going to know that and tell you that. So I am insisting that I see a consultant, because if you just see a GP, you're not getting specialized care.
I'm smiling because Alzheimer's and dementia is actually linked to chronic illness as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I think is absolutely vital when you have chronic illness, because it can hit you in the middle of a successful career life. It can hit you when you are, you're sporty and active and athletic. It doesn't matter how fit you are, it can still hit you. And the thing that I found most difficult is it prevents you from living the life you love. It prevents you from pursuing the dreams you've had and the plans you've made. It interrupts you financially. And it comes with not only a set of physical symptoms and debilitating things, but it also means you can no longer earn a good income. So it comes with the worries of finance. You can no longer be the parent you want to be because you're just not well enough, or the partner you want to be. And certainly it will stop your career. So there's a grieving necessary and I've had years of grieving, consciously grieving, for the life I'd hoped I'd have, for the life I lost. And that's part of coming to a place of acceptance, not resignation, not a kind of, oh, well, I'm going to be this hopeless case, and be bitter and twisted, but a joyful acceptance in which you find, I've had to learn to find a contentment in things that if you told me 10 years ago, I'd have found a contentment in, I wouldn't have been able to, because I would have been frustrated about what I wasn't doing.
No, my daughter's just arrived. No, you've been eating all day. Off you go. No, go on. Disappear. Stop eating all the time. They eat all day and then they don't eat the tea at night.
Yeah,
it's not
chronic
happening.
Children problems.
Probably. She's probably just eating out of boredom.
Well, it's chronic parenting, you see.
Does that exist?
I think being worn out from parenting exists.
Yeah. Especially kids that have got autism.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So Leah, her mum's got dementia.
Yeah, it's very sad. And they are doing a lot more research into, the links again with the gut and with other things, and diet, what not to be eating, what to be eating. I mean, in my own situation, my diet has completely changed to where it's so bland that I'm almost too bored by it to eat, But yes, diet plays a large part in a lot of chronic illness.
So, Leah, what steps, if you want to share it, what steps have you taken to actually offer the support, get her the support, and get her to change her mindset from negative to positive? Because I know it'll be a shock to all of you. And I bet it is for you as well, Karen. And Neil called you chronic then.
Well, it would fit. Chronic Karen. There you go. Chronic with a K.
It's those K's again, isn't
it? Crazy Chronic Karen, KKK.
Crazy's with a C.
Well, you're just changing the first letter, but that's not a good acronym.
Oh, she doesn't see her mum because of COVID.
See, that's put a whole new turn on the...
It has. Damn.
On being chronically ill, whether it's dementia or anything else. Through those 2 years, it brought about isolation. And still in some places, isolation, which we know is not good for people with dementia or Alzheimer's to lose contact.
Or even mental health in general.
But mental health in general, yes. I mean, when the first lockdown came, even though I'm used to a lot of time on my own, if it hadn't been for the fact that my sister and her husband were part of my bubble, as they called it, it would have meant I would see nobody. And a lot of people are still seeing nobody, especially those that are shielding because they've got chronic conditions.
Yeah.
And that affects your mental health.
Yeah, I knew someone, we're talking a couple of years ago now, he actually committed suicide because of isolation.
Oh, absolutely. Loneliness can be...
And he was younger than us as well, younger than me.
Yeah. Loneliness can be crippling, but also... unless you have the support, whether it's through friendship, whether it's through a therapist or a carer who helps you adjust your mindset to having a chronic illness, the future can look really bleak and hopeless, which again, we know that hope is an important part of maintaining mental well-being. And to be isolated without access to outside stimuli and support is tough.
Do you know what? I think you've just given me a brainwave there into...
I thought I saw smoke coming out of your ears.
No, into actually doing scheduling a podcast to talk about loneliness.
Yeah. It's a huge thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll schedule that in, and we'll actually get Kerry Burr on that one because she's having a week off at the minute. So
okay.
Yeah. Well, who's just come then? Oh, postman. I couldn't see him leaving the garden then, but anyhow. She has a carer coming daily. Right. So Leah's mum has a carer going daily. So that's good. That's a step.
Well, yes, it is. I mean, unfortunately, my father died from vascular dementia. I nursed him for the last 5 years of his life. And I found the carers coming in, even though some of them are teenagers, 18, 19 years old, I still found that they were, many of them, beautifully caring and empathetic and considerate. And, they would have a cup of tea with us and we'd have a chat if they had the time. And that contact daily is essential, but it's not very long, which is a shame.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because the difficult thing is, you see, as well, I'm having an assessment in October by the benefit system to see if I qualify for disability, because at the moment I'm getting very, very little income, which again is another aspect of chronic illness. And it's taken the government donkey's years and a lot of pressure to begin to accept and acknowledge that this is very, very real, and that we are not just people sitting at home watching telly, eating chocolates and faking it. So I'm hoping that, I'm not sure, that whether CFS or GERD or fibromyalgia or any of these chronic illnesses are now being put on the government benefits list as qualifying for disability. But it's very, very hard. And the hoops you have to jump through is because the government doesn't care. I'm sorry, they don't care.
Karen, if you got me started on the government and the benefit system, this feed will get cut immediately.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree. Yep.
It'll get cut with what I've got to say, especially with me applying for disability benefit as well, because I had that growing up and now I'm not allowed it.
Yeah, it's tough. But again, this is another mental health aspect for people with chronic illness. Oh. They fall through the cracks of the government.
Well, even though I grew up from the age of 2 years old on disability living allowance. So 2 years old, that's a very young age. And I had that all the way up to adulthood. 27, it was. Yeah, 27 years old. So I had it for a good 25 years. And then obviously because of my age, I had to apply for PIP because fair enough, I'm not bothered about that. But I'm not allowed it. And then it came to assessment. And I failed each time, so I weren't allowed it. So I took it higher to the tribunal courts, and they said because the NHS have lost your diagnosis of dyspraxia, they've lost it, but there's mental health there. That's not enough evidence to give you PIP.
Oh, it doesn't. You know what? Sadly, Adam, it doesn't surprise me. I'm sorry.
No.
It's a continual thing, this. And I'd be very surprised if I pass the assessment, fail the assessment and get the money that would help me, live. And those countries.
Yeah, but the trauma from that, though, from that.
Oh, it's huge trauma. It's huge trauma. And for those in America and other countries where there is no welfare, yes, we're very lucky that we have any buffer at all. But the way our system works means that you're not allowed to be. It penalizes. Yeah, it works. It penalizes you for looking for work or doing a little bit of work because it deducts that from what you're getting, and you can't get ahead. I mean, I don't want to be on benefit, but they make it very hard to succeed and get off it. But anyway, that's a whole other subject. Yeah. I find one of the most important.
You've gone all robotic, Karen.
Oh, have I? Sorry. I look fine to me. I sound fine, but am I coming across?
Are we still live, guys?
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit as well. It must be the connection. Oh, now you've paused.
Am I loud and clear?
I can hear you, but I can't. But you've frozen on screen. Can you hear me?
I'll get to that comment in a minute, Melissa. I can hear you loud and clear. Well, not loud and clear, but I can hear you. But you're very romantic, robotic. Now you play with your glasses. Very robotic. Very.
Yes, same with you. You're sort of jerky. And now you've gone. Oops. Signal has died. It's really weird.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you're back.
Right, so it was me then.
Huh?
It was me.
Yeah, you disappeared.
I don't know why. I don't know. But either way, sorry about that, guys. You know what technology is like. It's an absolute wonderful thing. But we've got a question for you, Karen.
Okay.
Off Melissa Christie. Karen, what are your thoughts on how our experiences can reflect how a chronic illness can be triggered?
Good question, Melissa. Very good question, because a lot of neuroscience and medical science is now showing that trauma we've been through or stresses we're having in the past very much affect our immune system and our ability to fight off infections, etc. But also a lot of chronic illness will flare up and the symptoms will be much worse during a period of stress, whatever it might be, financial, family, anything. Yes, it's very much intertwined.
I got some of that. I got some of that. Did I freeze again?
Yes, you're still frozen.
Am I?
No, you're all right now. You're all right now.
Oh, I don't know.
It's an unhealthy connection. There's chronic illness in your connection.
Probably. But what we'll do then, before it happens again, before one of us gets kicked off, she said thank you. We'll end this podcast. Okay. We'll end it, but we will cover this again at some point.
Good, yeah.
Absolutely, because we need to do this as a part 2. We really do.
Yes, okay, we do.
Yeah, so I'll end this now. Thank you to everyone tuned in, and whether you're on the replay, wherever you are in the world. All I've got to say is please, and I hope technology is on my side tomorrow at 10:30. Alex Blake, Mindset Coach, and I've also got Australia coming in as well. So Steve Knapp. So on that note, I'm going to end this. Have a great day and see you.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.